Imagine an entire community being attacked in broad daylight, residents killed, homes destroyed, and terrified families forced to run for their lives. That is a disturbing situation being reported from Zamfara state, where suspected bandits attacked two communities, leaving several people dead and others injured. The violence reportedly happened in Badoki community in Gumu local government area and Bunkaswa in Bukiyum local government area. But the attack did not end with the killing and destruction. After attacking Badoki, the bandits reportedly set another community, Ruwan Kura, ablaze. As residents fled, some sought refuge in neighboring communities, leaving behind their homes, possessions, and livelihoods. So what exactly happened in these Zamfara communities? And why are armed groups still able to launch attacks that force entire population to abandon their homes? According to information shared by security analyst Bakatsin, the attacks occurred on Sunday afternoon. The report said bandits simultaneously targeted Badoki in Gumu local government area and Bukaswa in Bukuyu local government area. Several people were reportedly killed, while others sustained injuries. Homes and other properties were also destroyed during the attacks. The violence forced many residents to flee their communities in search of safety. The situation became even more dangerous when members of the Civilian Joint Task Force, commonly known as Civilian JTF, attempted to move towards Bunkaswa to respond to the attack. According to the report, the responding group fell into a bandit ambush. This development highlights one of the major challenges facing communities affected by banditry. Even people attempting to respond to attacks can become targets themselves. The violence also reportedly spread beyond the initial locations. After the attack on Badoki, the bandits allegedly set Ruwan Kura community on fire. The burning of the community forced residents to escape. Some reportedly fled towards Daki Dakwas, while others sought refuge in Dagaji. For these residents, the crisis is no longer simply about insecurity. It is about survival. People who had homes, farms, businesses, and family possessions in these communities have suddenly been forced to leave everything behind. Some may have lost relatives, others may have suffered injuries, and many now face uncertainty over where they will sleep, how they will feed their families, and whether they will be ever able to safely return home. This is the human cost of continuing security crisis in parts of northern Nigeria. Zamfara has faced attack for years involving armed bandit groups, kidnappers, and other criminal networks. Rural communities are particularly vulnerable because many are located far from major security formations. Large forests and difficult terrain can also make it easier for armed groups to move between communities and evade security forces. That creates a difficult security environment. When an attack begins, residents may have little time to call for help. And when security personnel or local vigilantes attempt to intervene, they can themselves face ambushes. That appears to be part of what happened in the latest incidents. The reported ambush of civilian JTF members is particularly significant. Civilian JTF groups are often made up of local residents who assist security agencies with information, surveillance, and community protection. Because they know the local terrain, they can provide valuable support. But they can also face serious risks when confronting heavily armed criminals. The latest violence therefore raises questions about whether local security volunteers have sufficient protection, intelligence, and coordination before responding to attacks. There is also the wider issue of displaced residents. When communities are burned, residents cannot simply return when the attackers leave. Destroyed houses need to be rebuilt. Families need food and shelter. Children may be unable to attend school. Farmers may be unable to access their farms. Small businesses can disappear overnight. This means an attack can continue affecting a community long after the gunmen have left. The displacement can also place additional pressure on neighboring communities. People fleeing Badoki and Rowankura may depend on relatives, friends, or communities such as Daki Takwas and Dagaje for shelter. But those communities may already have limited resources. If insecurity continues, temporary displacement can gradually become a longer-term humanitarian crisis. There is also a broader security question. If armed groups can attack multiple communities, kill residents, destroy property, and set homes on fire, authorities face the challenge of not simply responding to individual incidents, but dismantling the networks responsible. That requires intelligence. It requires cooperation between the military, police, local security structures, and communities. And it requires sustained operations rather than temporary responses after attacks have already occurred. At the same time, it is important to distinguish between what has been officially confirmed and what remains based on reports from security observers. The information available in this report comes from the security analyst Bakassin, who shared details of the attacks. The exact number of people killed or injured has not been publicly established in the information available. The identities of those responsible have not been officially disclosed. There has not been an official confirmation of the full scale of destruction or the number of residents displaced. Those details will be important as authorities assess the situation. But even without a final casualty figure, the reported events are deeply troubling. People have reportedly been killed. Others have been injured. Homes have been destroyed. One community was reportedly set ablaze, and families have been forced to flee. For the residents now sheltering away from their homes, the immediate concern is safety. They need protection, they need emergency assistance, and they need confidence that returning home will not expose them to another attack. For security agencies, the challenge is even greater. They must identify the attackers, prevent further violence, and secure the affected communities. They must also ensure that those responding to attacks do not walk into ambushes. The latest incident is another reminder that insecurity in rural Nigeria has consequences that go far beyond the initial attack. When a home is destroyed, a family loses more than a building. When a community is abandoned, people lose access to their farms, businesses, schools, and places of worship. And when fear forces people to flee, the social and economic damage can last for years. The people of Badoki, Bunkaswa, and Ruwankura are now facing their reality. Their communities have been attacked, residents have reportedly been killed, and families have been scattered in search of safety. The critical question now is whether those authorities can prevent another attack. Because for the residents who have fled, returning home will mean little unless they believe they can sleep safely in their own houses again. And until that security is restored, the fires may eventually go out, but the fear left behind will remain. I'm Chimezrim Okoro, and thanks for watching.